We love Classical Conversations.
Your organization is known worldwide, and we certainly appreciate every facet that you do.
I do believe in what you're doing because I've seen it in my family.
I'm so excited about all the things that, Robert, you guys do with Classical Conversations. It's been a huge blessing for our family.
Grateful for the work at Classical Conversations. You're a leader, and you have been in this movement for a long time.
I do feel like I have a debt of gratitude to you, your family, all of CC for just the fruit that has come from CC.
Appreciate all that you guys do, both through this wonderful podcast and also through Classical Conversations, which I am convinced is the best education resource out there. Thank you very much for all that you do for the cause of Christ and for our families and for our children. Really, really appreciate it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Refining Rhetoric, and today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and gold and what's going on in the markets and just life in general. It's been kind of a wild ride here in the month of October, and it is about 2 o'clock Eastern time on the 23rd of October, and as I record this, and with crypto and especially Bitcoin in general, it's important to know when these things are recorded because it can move fast. And we're going to talk about what has been going on. So it was funny. I was going to record this about an hour ago and decided to do something else. And at that time, Bitcoin was around $109,000 a coin. And then I was like, oh, let me go see what it is at right now. And it's at $111,228. And so as you're listening to this episode, who knows where it is? It's been a wild ride. And so as we've talked about in our crypto segments since we started this podcast, historically around the Bitcoin halving cycle, we see ups and downs. And so usually in quarter 4 of the post-halving year, which would be October through December of this year, over the last kind of 3 halvings, we've had an all-time high. And so last time it was around $69,000, and that was about 4 years ago now. And I had been calling earlier last year for maybe Bitcoin to get around 120,000 or more this time. And on October, they typically call in the Bitcoin community Uptober, and then we have Moonvember, and then we have the Santa Rally and Christmas. So Q4 is usually a really good time to be in Bitcoin and in crypto. And we actually had a decent September, which was surprising. Usually September's down. It was actually up about 6%. And October was going great. We hit a new all-time high of $126,000 a coin of Bitcoin. The altcoins or the other crypto coins were rallying. A lot of those still haven't hit their all-time highs compared to where they were 4 years ago. And then literally at like 10 a.m., kind of hit an all-time high on, I think, October 10th. And then at 4 p.m., President Trump tweets that he's putting these giant sanctions on China because they're making it so we don't have these rare earth minerals. And literally we see crypto fall, or Bitcoin fall, from $126,000 to $103,000 in less than 24 hours. So $20,000 drop. It rebounded. It bounced back up to 112. And since then, it's kind of been bouncing around anywhere from $106,000 to $114,000. And some people are saying, is the top end is the $126,000 the top for this cycle? Are we going to see a drawdown to maybe the mid 70s sometime next year, or is this just part of kind of the macro and economic environment that we see around the world? And so that's the $1 million question, as it were, right now in the space. And I waffle back and forth. I don't necessarily have an opinion at this time, but I do know 4 years from now Bitcoin will be a lot higher. I know 8 years from now it's going to be significantly higher. The Trump administration has basically said they want to grow their way out of it. We know, or we're expecting a rate cut here at the end of October and another one before the end of the year. The new Fed chair that will happen in, I think, the end of the first quarter of 2026 is definitely going to be dovish, which means he's going to be wanting to cut rates, which is typically good for Bitcoin, bad for the value of the dollar. The value of the dollar, inflation's at 3% or so, depending on who you want to believe, maybe as low as 2%. But the devaluation of the dollar this year is actually over 10% because they've been printing so much money. And that doesn't seem to be changing no matter who is in office. Hey everyone, interrupting today's episode to talk about my new book, Woke and Weaponized, co-authored with Alex Newman, a Classical Conversations dad, how Karl Marx won the battle for American education and how we can win it back. From Karl Marx's 1848 call for free education in public schools to today's UNESCO-driven global agendas, the government school system has been a slow-motion revolution, shaping generations to serve the state, not God or liberty. And it didn't happen overnight. The ideas of Owen, Mann, Dewey, and the Frankfurt School infiltrated classrooms over decades, replacing classical learning with indoctrination, dependency, and cultural Marxism. We want to show you how to rescue your family from this broken system, and lots of research has gone into this book. It's one that you're going to want to pick up and get for a friend. It's coming out in January of 2026. We're working on a pre-order date, so keep your eyes open for Woke and Weaponized, how Karl Marx won the battle for American education and how we can win it back. Coming to an inbox near you soon. God bless, and let's get back to the show. And so what we have seen, because of geopolitical developments, the price of gold has skyrocketed. It went up, I think, 60% this year. Gold has outperformed the S&P, I think, over the last 20 years. Over the last 5 years, gold has outperformed everything this year. So congratulations, gold bugs. So gold and Bitcoin has shown that people want sound money, that this fiat money system, in my opinion, is inherently evil. And we can see the fruit of it all around us. And so people are looking to go to hard assets. And so a couple things that to think about that are going on internationally. One is, we in the world relies on China for these rare earth, as they call them, materials. I don't know how rare they are, but they're the ones that are manufacturing and refining them and shipping them out. And so we need those for computers and TVs and cars and all of these things. And so Trump is trying to negotiate, I guess, with that. And he signed an agreement with Australia to get their rare earths. But if we remember back when Russia and the Ukraine war started under President Biden and continued under President Trump, is they seized Russian assets. And think about this. There are three major nuclear powers in the world: China, Russia, and the U.S. And most smaller countries are if they're trying to get nuclear power, it's to protect themselves. Whether we agree with it or not, that's their logic for having a nuclear weapon. And so the United States, seized the money from the third, probably the third biggest country, most powerful country in the world, with little to no repercussions. And so that has made it so that BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, I can't remember, India, China, and somebody else, are trying to figure out how to de-dollarize their currency. Because right now, if you want to trade oil, people call it the petrodollar, you have to do that in US dollars. So all of these countries are having to buy up US bonds so that they have dollars so that they can make trades. And every time anyone's tried to get off of it, the conspiracy theorists will tell you that's when a war has happened. The U.S. has gone in to give democracy to some wonderful country. And so, that is happening behind the scenes where these other countries aren't necessarily trusting the US dollar as much, especially as we continue to outsource our inflation into their economies. And so that's why they've decided to start buying gold. A reason that people think that's happening. Well, the US needs someone to buy all of our debt, right? We're printing $2 trillion a year, at least to just cover our expenses because we keep spending more money than we have in Congress, and there's no sort of moral outrage among the people, and the politicians don't want to cut rates. That's why we're in a CR, or right now we have a government shutdown, at least as of this recording. No one wants to spend money. No one wants to make those hard decisions. And they're going to do what every single country has tried to do and inflate their way out of their problems. So if you own bonds, they're basically making your bonds worthless to try to, devalue I think we're in $38 trillion worth of debt now. Hey everyone, interrupting today's show to tell you about the Classical Conversations Alumni Network. We just launched, and it's a way to connect alumni, and that includes you parents, through a network of job opportunities, trainings, and inspiring content featuring CC celebrities and success stories to keep you motivated. You can connect with fellow CC alumni through discussion groups, find meaningful career opportunities for both parents and students with our partnership with Red Balloon, and discover events tailored for your career interests. So join this thriving community that's already helping members leverage their classical education for real-world success while maintaining their values and friendships that matter most. Whether you're seeking your next career move, looking to network with like-minded professionals, or want to stay inspired by fellow alumni achievements, the Alumni Network is your home base for continued growth. So learn more by going to ccalumni.network and joining this community today. That's ccalumni.network. Join a community of thriving parents and alumni and share the legacy of classical Christian education. Now let's get back to the show. So why do I say all that? Well, the U.S. passed the stablecoin law, the Genius Act, because part of that is these stable coins, which are basically pegged 1-to-1 to US dollar, can be used throughout the world. And so while individual countries whose currency is failing, want dollars from themselves, they do not want dollars in the hands of their citizens. And having stable coins, that actually gives citizens of these countries the ability to protect themselves from that inflation. And so part of that Genius Act is requiring basically these stablecoin issuers to hold a certain amount of US dollars in their banks so that the Treasury, led by Scott Bessent, can sell US bonds to them, and they will be able to buy them because places like China and of course Russia and the UK are and these other people are just not wanting US dollars at the same level as before, because they no longer trust our government, and for good reason, right? We've printed $38 trillion over the last 20 or so years. One of the reasons, like I said earlier, that inflation is at 2 or 3% right now, but the US dollars actually decreased 10%. So some of the things that I see happening, one is the Trump administration is cutting a tremendous amount of red tape. So while there are things like tariffs in place that might increase costs on organizations and companies, cutting the red tape's decreasing costs. And so you're getting this kind of deflationary aspect in our economy from just cutting, I think, trillions of dollars of regulation. So regulations are a hidden tax, and it's almost like they are cutting the hidden tax and increasing the real taxes, because again, we're spending $7 trillion a year right now and only taking in about $5 trillion in revenue. And so ultimately, is Bitcoin going to crash in later this year? Is the all-time high in? I can't say. I do know Bitcoin and gold and silver are definitely more moral forms of money. I think we're very clear that the government is not going to cut $2 trillion from their budget to balance it. And so they're going to continue to deflate things away. If you look at the S&P 500 versus the amount of dollars that have been printed, the S&P 500 is flat. The Dow Jones is down. If you look at the price of housing in US dollars, it's way up. If you look at the price of US housing in Bitcoin or in gold, it is way down. And that's the natural order of things. When you have sound money, everything should get cheaper because we can make it faster. We can make it cheaper. We understand how to do things. We can scale it. The reason that we see inflation is because of the fiat dollar. And as long as the fiat dollar is going to be printed, and it's going to continue to be printed even more, and that's what they've signaled that they're going to do, we can expect that commodities like gold and silver and Bitcoin will continue to store value better than having dollars in the bank. This is, of course, none of this is financial advice, but we definitely see how just globalization and this reordering that we're in right now is causing a lot of volatility all over this world, and especially in the Bitcoin market right now. So the best thing to do in any of these situations is just dollar cost average in and hold for a long time. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, learned a little bit more about what's going on in the world right now and why things might seem a little different than they seemed just a few years ago. Please share this episode with a friend and be sure to tune in next week to another episode of Refining Rhetoric.
Thank you for listening to Refining Rhetoric with Robert Bortons. Want more? Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss an episode. You can also follow us on social media to continue the conversation, and visit classicalconversations.com/rhetoric to find out how you can join a local homeschool community.